Tuesday, for the first time since 2002, the NBA had returned to NBC. Roundabout Rock was playing in the background, and I'm not going to talk a ton about the games. Listen, Warriors take down the Lakers. I didn't watch a lot of it because it started at 10 o'clock Eastern. I am not a fan, I'll say this, of the NBA that's going to be doing 11 o'clock p.m. start times on the West Coast on Tuesday nights. I think it's a wrong decision. I think that you are, you know, limiting your audience to only one side of the country, basically, at that point. But what I wanted to talk about was not necessarily Thunder Rockets, which was an incredible game and went to double overtime, but it's also game one of 82. The NBA regular season really didn't start till Christmas Day, as we know. But I wanted to talk about the presentation of the NBA on NBC because if you look at NBC Sunday Night Football, and this is the one criticism I think we maybe all have of Sunday Night Football, is Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark. They are all terrific. Obviously, Mike and Chris, I think we put them up there with Jim and Tony as the best broadcast crew in the country. But I think the one place where NBC maybe lacks is the pre and post game show. Obviously, you got Maria Taylor there, Devin McCourty, Jason Garrett, Chris Sims, Mike Florio, Matthew Berry. The names are there, but they don't do any skits or anything like that. You know, they show highlights of the Sunday afternoon games, if you will. But it's really business as usual, right? The NFL on NBC Sunday Night Football is really about the on-screen product, what you're watching on the field. And I think what so many people want about the NBA on TNT was inside the NBA, right? Ernie Johnson, Shaq, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and those guys, and they are now over on the ESPN platform. But the NBA on TNT was a good encore product. I love the announcers of Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller. I prefer them a lot more to Marv Albert, and I know Marv Albert's a legend. I just never really cared for his style. Ian Eagle, Grant Ill, Stan Van Gundy, Spiro Ditas, Brian Anderson, Chris Webber. They had a lot of good talent on there. And they were really good announcers, but it did not feel like an event. Where the NBA on NBC, I thought Mike Tirico, Reggie Miller, Jamal Crawford from Jump had instant chemistry. And, again, maybe the halftime presentation, which was mostly an interview with Mike Tirico and Michael Jordan, which I think is going to draw a lot of 90s eras basketball back because a lot of people, obviously, we all love nostalgia, and Michael Jordan was the epitome of the NBA in the 90s, and NBC did such a great job making basketball feel big because of Michael. But Maria Taylor, Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, and I even forget the fourth member that was there on that panel because I don't even know if they spoke. And that's my point, right? Maria Taylor does a great job for Sunday Night Football. She does the Saturday Night Big Ten college football, which Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge do a great job of the in-game calling. And Noah Eagle sounds just like his father, Ian. And, NBC has this great on-field product, but the pre and post and halftime shows sort of feel lacking, which is where I'm very interested to see where Amazon Prime comes in because they got some big names as well, like Blake Griffin, Dirk Nowitzki coming in. I think, Ian Eagle, Stan Van Gundy, Kevin Harlan. I'm forgetting the other analysis member that they have, but they have a pretty good crew over there as well. But what the NBA on NBC did, in my opinion, on Tuesday night was make Thunder, Rockets, Lakers, Warriors feel big. They made it feel important. They made opening night feel like a spectacle, which is something TNT really never did. TNT made it more about we're back, welcome to the NBA, and all this, and let's, Eddie, Ernie, Shaq, Charles, let them do their thing. Where it was more different with NBC, where it was about the game. It was about the players. It was about Shea Gilgious-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, Kevin Durant, Emmett Thompson, Jalen Williams, who did not play, Sengun. And Mike Tirico, again, I thought filled in tremendously. To me, Mike Breen is the best NBA announcer in the business, but I wish that, the NBA could have done NBC, Amazon Prime, and TNT, and maybe Mike Breen become the voice of Amazon Prime, because I don't think ESPN particularly does a good job with their in-game coverage. Again, Mike Breen is great. Richard Jefferson's decent, but he is no Jeff Van Gundy. He's no Mark Jackson, and we'll see what to make of Tim Wegler as he replaces Doris Burke this year. But NBA countdown was a mess. Um, Obviously, inside the NBA will improve that, but I don't come to the NBA to listen to halftime. It's not like the NFL where we have the NFL on Fox, we have the NFL on CBS. We watch the pregame, we hear their halftime thoughts, we hang on the words of the likes of a Bill Cowher, a Howie Long, a Michael Strahan, a Nate Burleson. Back in the day, Boomer Esiason, Shannon Sharp, Phil Simms, Tony Gonzalez. We don't do that with the NBA. A lot of people don't watch the regular season basketball because it doesn't matter as much, which I think is one of the reasons why inside the NBA will only be mostly appearing in the playoffs. They have 20 regular season appearances, including Christmas Day, um, but not a lot. But I think overall the presentation for the NBA and NBC was spectacular. I thought they nailed it, from the music to the introductions to the graphics to the announcing. Everything was professional, and I think it's going to help the NBA. I'm so excited for this partnership. With that being said, they have the Peacock exclusive games on Mondays, which I know they're going to try a sideline reporter being in the benches and seeing how that works out, which is an interesting dynamic. You have obviously the Tuesday nights on NBC. You have Wednesdays ESPN. You have Thursday, Friday, and I believe Saturday afternoon Amazon Prime. Once the NFL season ends, then you'll have Saturday night ABC. Then you'll have Sunday night basketball on NBC. Um, I think the NBA being on 7 nights a week, I get it from a marketing perspective. You can put the likes of the Knicks, the Bucks, the Lakers, the Rockets, the Thunder, the Warriors, the T-Wolves, all the great teams out west, and then like the two good teams in the East, Cavs, Knicks, Magic, until obviously the Celtics and Indiana Pacers get their stars back. So I get it from that perspective, but I think it's going to be too much of an overexposure. But for a first night of the NBA and NBC, it was absolutely a home run. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.